The great Benny Pough.
Oh man, you're not gonna do that to me, bro. You're not gonna do that. How you, Jay?
I'm great, man. There was a lot of excitement when I posted the flyer. They said, "Oh, I'm tuning in for this one."
What?
Oh
Who
yeah,
they? Who they?
a lot of big names, man. A lot of heavy hitters in the industry.
Stop.
It's good to see you. This has been a long time coming. We were supposed to do this a while ago, but this has been a wild year.
Yeah, I think when we were supposed to do it, man, life hit in a big way, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So like that's why I always like to ask not only how are you doing, but how are your people doing during this crazy year?
Family's great. Family, friends, spirit, God, everything is moving well, man. So I don't have any complaints. I look at every day is a better day than the day before. So, you wake up and keep doing what you put your best foot forward. So I'm very thankful.
Absolutely. You and me both. So what did you have planned in 2020 before everything shut down?
Wow, that's interesting. Like, this was a year for me. Rounding out 2019 was a year that I was in deep prayer and connection, right? Because I wanted 2020 to be like very revolutionary. Like a lot of things had taken place in my life, some that I wanted, some I didn't want it. And I was praying with like my brotherhood of friends, black men that we assemble maybe once a month called the Goodfellas, and I was asking God for clarity, right? And it's really interesting because my mind was in a different place and space after a long journey in music, family, friends, and just thinking about life as a whole, right? Like in a near-death situation, I felt like a heavy weightedness of what's next for me. So I started praying, right? Like deep prayer. And the answers came. Like it's really interesting when you put your faith and you put your mind to things. And if you're serious about it and open yourself to receive, it'll come. So March, when the pandemic hit, I was actually looking at two sensational artists I thought about. And I left my house in Jersey to go see one of them on March 7th. And I signed the other one to my label, which I started, which is Diverse Media. So it's a full-fledged distribution label, right? Which I have a couple artists that I signed directly. Paris Gatlin is the first artist that I signed. And we also are a funnel that obviously we can put music out to all the DSPs and offer packages of mentoring and opportunities for new and developing acts. Then after that, was working on this book for about a year. So I was able to complete that, and a lot of traction and conversation took on after that, and actually had an opportunity to step into something that was super exciting for me in app development. So have an app with a company called Candid that a young gentleman by the name of Antoine McGoughlin, a 29-year-old app creator, brought me in, and that's my next life, so I'm super excited about things to come.
Yeah, we got to definitely get into all three of those ventures because I have questions about each one. But once the pandemic kind of, and we saw, the murder of George in the social justice movement that we've seen, and how have you had to adjust? Like, what pivots have you made during this time when, you're signing up, you can't move artists around the same way that you and I are accustomed to, to the radio stations or to meet the different people. It's all like this nowadays. How did you have to adjust?
You broke up a little bit, but if what I'm hearing you correctly is, how has the business pivot, or how did I need to, how did music pivot?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, a little better.
Okay. How did you have to adjust?
Oh man, I mean, just like everyone else, but I think like I was quarantined before the quarantine, right? Figuring out my life, to be quite honest. And I think it's a blessing for everybody who's been able to figure out their way to maneuver through all of this madness, right? And I think that it's also a moment for not only just the world, but us as individuals to figure out what's best, what's important, right? How do we
Mhm.
move? How do we talk? What are our needs,
Right.
right? Anybody who's able to sustain themselves now, right? You're really able and prepared for how to deal with your future, right? With things
Sure.
that, you know, necessity is really important at this point, right? Like we're definitely a generation of people, or a people as a whole, like we just like things. And now you need to start liking what's needs are, right? Like, you know, you really had to put your mind to what's important in your life, who's important in your life, right?
Yeah.
And this thing that we love, music, has been important for all of us, and we need to really reach into and think about the blessing for those who are still, you know, inside and fighting the fight, right? And those on the outside need to be loud to help the ones on the inside to fight the fight, right? So
Yeah.
it's just really important that this pandemic, if it didn't do anything else but teach us, right, we need to take time to learn the lesson. So, you know, life is, you know, you have to think about those who've struggled every day, right? But they find a way to move every day. And
Right.
now that we have the opportunity to reflect on ourselves and the things that are important, I think we'll be okay.
Absolutely. So you've been making incredible plays all your life, and you're somebody who I've respected for a long time. Um, Talk about like your journey as far as what was it that got you into the music business? What attracted you to music?
So it's a really interesting story, right? It's the there's the industry story, right? I guess like I could make, right, or I could just give it to you how it was. Actually, I was a salesman by trade, right?
Okay.
Prior to getting into music, you know, I sold cutlery door to door, fax machines. That's way beyond. You too young for that, bro, right?
Wow.
Yo,
Okay.
yeah. Worked for Citibank selling like their financial products, right?
Yeah.
Drove limousines. But how I actually got into music was as a comic. So while I was at St. John's University, the regional director of promotions booked me for a show. And at the
Mm.
end of the show, she asked me what I was doing. And I hadn't even prepared my resume. So she was like, "You want to come down and be my intern?" And I was like, shoot, to be quite honest, I didn't even know what an intern was. We didn't go to school. Nobody told us what
Right.
internships were, right?
No, he must be getting a phone call. Ben, are you still there? Okay, he froze up for a second. Hopefully we get him back. You, we lost you for a second.
Okay.
So you were talking about you just got the internship and you didn't know what an internship was.
Oh, okay. So, okay, yeah. So when I went down to Motown, it was kind of crazy because she told me to come down for an interview. So, you know, the music business is a casual business, but I came in the three-piece suit, wingtips, yo, briefcase, and everybody was looking at me like, yo, who is this dude, right? The Amway salesman or the police, right? But I realized during that time, I started, you know, I was a guy back then, I could type 60 words a minute. I was very
Wow.
efficient, organized, right? Home row, bro, sit up erect, all of that, right? And
Mm.
so you never know who's watching you, right? And that's how a lot of moves happened for me. But what was really key was I was processing her T&Es at the time, and she asked me, I asked her, like, what is this? And she said, you know, it's my expenses. I was like, well, what does that mean? She said, you know, we go out to eat, you know, when I go on flights, you know, when my cable bill, my gas bill, that's when the record companies used to pay all of that. They take care of as business. I was like, for real? I was like, yo, that's what I want to do. So then I broke into the college, you know, college promotions department, and the rest. That's when I like really fell in love with the music business, because it was an opportunity to see how you could actually take a product, right, and
Hmm.
change someone's life in like a 12-week cycle. Like you would be nobody on day one, and in
Yeah.
3 months, like, yo, you top of the charts and could be somebody. So I was like, I
Hmm.
love this. This was, this, I love it. And that's when, I fell in love with the business.
How were you able to take the skills that you learned, I guess, in, doing the corporate jobs, whether it was sales and, the other things that you talked about, and take that over into the music business?
Well, honesty and integrity, right? Like, it
Mhm.
doesn't matter what business you're in. Like, what you stand for is what's most important,
Right.
right? And then selling, you have to believe in the product, right? And you
Right.
have to be convicted in what you're selling, right? And you have to be able to have the conversation, and you have to be prepared. So, the sales business is very organized, right? And
Yeah.
it's a very non fulfilling position until you actually get the score, right? 95% of what you're going to do all day, every day is going to be rejection. So you
Right.
can't be sensitive. No different than comedy, right? Like you open yourself up to just for people to boo you and not care. And like, you'll get a drink and everybody can be emboldened. So the music business was like, yo, man, this is easy. Like, really?
Yeah.
Yo, right? Everybody's creative and cool. Like this, all right. So you take that position, and that was the position that I took. Everything I learned, like being in the snow, in the rain, in the heat, right, on a day-to-day, pounding that pavement, and put that in the box of, yo, this is someone's life. Let me move it the same way, right? It's not an intangible item, right? It's not a thing. It's not a good. This is someone's
Right.
life, right? And apply to everything.
Wow. You dropped some major gems right there. What were some of the things that you felt that you did that was able to make you, one, stick out amongst the other people that were coming in around the same time as you, and two, continue to elevate you to the levels that you achieved?
I mean, I can tell you a lot of different things. I worked them. I'll work them.
Okay.
When if you look through sports, business, right? Doctors, right? Teachers, people want people who are committed to themselves and their craft, right? So it's no different than like our parents tell us or our grandparents tell us, honest days work for our honest days pay. Like, yo, if the
Right.
job was 8 hours, you gonna work 10 hours. You can't work six, right? You can't come in, go to the bathroom, call your girl, right? Go to the bank by 11, right?
Right.
Sit and chat for a minute and then want to be successful. Like you can't, you can get lucky. And we know enough people who have gotten lucky, but
That's true.
that's not a career. So if you want a career, man, you got to put in. And, we know a lot of people, we know a lot of artists. And I guess what's, thematic with all of them is they all have an ethic, man. Everybody has a thing and they serious about what they do. And,
Yeah.
people get there in different times in their career. So like, it's just really important to know who you are and what you are and what you want.
Mm. Facts. Facts. So okay, so let's fast forward. After your last situation, what made you decide to pivot? What made you decide to start focusing on a book and getting into technology and all that stuff? Because with your resume and your accomplishments, I'm sure you had people calling and offers being made, but you made an intentional step to step back from the actual business.
I, I've mastered my past. I'm learning my future, right? And I think what's really important is it's easy to be comfortable, right? And my journey, as I look at all of the opportunities, came with risk, right? And me waking up every day figuring out what was the best way for me to be Benny Pough, right? And every opportunity that I moved from Def Jam to Epic to Rock Nation, right, was about me becoming the best Benny Pough, right? And each
Right.
time learning and carrying something different from each opportunity to then enhance and grow and develop, right? The music business, love it, man. But like, for me, it's not about anymore about how much money you can make, or how many artists you're going to be around, right? Or how many more parties you're going to go to. It's like, how are you going to impact the difference, a generation of people, right, who now love music and want to be in the business, as well as, you know, the opportunity to expand and give the knowledge, right, and not be inhibited, right? I can do and say whatever I choose. I don't have to go in the building and then worry about the recourse of how I feel, right? Or what I say. So for me, what was next was, okay, I want to speak, right? And speak meaning I want to have an opportunity to give as many people that are willing to listen everything I know, right? And my book, through the accident, I had an accident 6 years ago that almost claimed my life. Hit a tree at 90 miles an hour and I survived, right?
Wow.
And in that accident, God gave me a story, right? And the title of my book is called On Impact. And what it is the inspirational, motivational business book that takes you through a journey from me being delivering papers at 11 years old to now, obviously at this point, being an entrepreneur with an undercurrent of music, but multiple inferences on business, right? And how I've made each step to get to this point in my life.
Man, definitely got to check that out. Is it available like on
March 1st? I'll be back. You know, I got to come back and promote, B. Like right now, it's the warm-up piece.
It's the warm-up piece. Okay, no doubt, no doubt. Now let's talk about the tech endeavor that you got into.
Yeah.
What's that about?
So it was really interesting. Good friend of mine, you know, DJ Afeezy.
Yeah. Shout out to EP.
So Afeezy calls me one night and he's like, "Yo, B, I got an opportunity for you." And he and I, like, we've been knowing each other for 15 years, opportunities passing them one and another. And he calls me and he's like, "Yo, dude, this is incredible." And I was like, "What is it?" So he gives me a description. I said, "Yo, get me on the phone with that dude." Young man, right? So puts me on the phone with him and he tells me about the concept of what he has. Very passionate young guy. And what he pretty much has created, right, was just independent in the marketplace, is microtransactions with your content. So, you know, you don't get paid from Instagram. Everybody's not going to OnlyFans. So what now, as an influencer, which we all are, right? We all are influencers. We all have people that look to us and follow us who are interested. And then there's those voyeurs that we don't have to worry about, right? But if you're feeding people and there's value in that, here's an opportunity for you to monetize, right? So on this platform, African American owned, right? You have the opportunity, right? On normal circumstances, a piece of content is one post. On our site, a piece of content is up to 40 pieces, 40 images in 10 1-minute videos, right? And at the end, you get an opportunity to charge the consumer or the user for whatever you choose.
Wow.
Yeah. So you can go from free to $1 million. And we will be the only platform in the space with the lowest distribution rate. Users will get an opportunity at 85% of the money in their pocket.
Wow.
Yeah.
And anybody can sign up for this.
Anybody, free, babe. You know we're not doing it no other way, right? Come on and get it. Come get it. So for me, with your earlier question, it's like not back to the beginning of looking for, you know, clarity. Had I been consumed in the day-to-day hustle, the grind of inside, right, I would have missed the opportunity. It had been about just being on the inside, right? Creating this book that that's gonna be revolutionary, right? If it was just about being on the inside, you wouldn't even be interested in talking to me, man.
I'm always interested to talk to you, bro. I always get gems when you speak. So definitely say that. All right, well, let's talk about Dverse then. Dverse Media. What prompted you to, you know, I guess get back into that side of the business or create your own label?
Well, it's important, right? I love music, right? I love the music business. It's done well. For me, it's done well for my family and my friends, right? So I don't believe, like, you know, sometimes you get people who are angry because they're not still inside, right?
Yeah.
For me, it's just enough. So Dverse keeps me in the fray enough. I have some private clients that I still work, you know, do my thing and are
Sure,
able
sure.
to promote or, you know, advise. And now being able to stay current in the business is what the label does, right? So having my
Mhm.
own artist, moving her through the system, as well as learning the mechanics of what's happening in modern day, right?
Yeah.
As the music evolves and changes. There's a difference than being on the outside trying to be in as opposed to staying active. So Diverse allows me to work it at my pace, right? And give people who come on board the opportunity to get as much from me as possible.
So what type of artists are you looking for, or that you look for to possibly sign?
Special, man. You know, it's listen, you know, I think if there's anything I could attest to my career is having the opportunity and ability to identify not only just executive talent, but, you know, commercial talent, right?
Yeah.
Future, I was able to bring Gotti to the label,
Yep.
Cash Out back in that day,
I remember.
right?
I still got my plaque. I still got
Yeah,
my cash out plaque.
yeah, yeah. Uh, so, you know, the same thing for me now is just like, you know it when you see it, right? And now that I'm not pushing anything particular, whatever I like, I have an opportunity to bring on board and do and move.
No doubt. How do you find the balance between, you know, finding the talent that you feel is special, but still, you know, I guess incorporating analytics? Because, you know, what I see now a lot is you'll have A&Rs that just look at the numbers, just look at the analytics, and artists are getting signed off of their numbers, but you don't know what type of artist they are. You don't know if they have that it factor.
Yeah, but that's not, you know, that's not new.
Right.
It's just current and modern, right? There's
Yeah.
always been those geniuses that have been on research, right? Now it's gone from those guys to algorithms, right?
Right.
It's all
Exactly.
been, it's the same, right? It's nothing,
Yeah.
it's not new. You know, it's these guys who really don't want to be in the culture but dictate the culture kind of thing, right? They've always been here. So the analytics are important. So
Right.
let's not negate information. Let's, like, you know, the gut is equally important, but analytics are important. And the people who know how to measure both, right?
Hmm.
And really know how to look at what's best and gauge it and properly assess it are the ones that are talent, you know, are the ones that will succeed. Right. So
Right.
just because the algorithm doesn't make it a hit, you're like, yo, this is trash.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And yo, those guys who aren't keen on the music anymore, just trying to push their friend, doesn't make it hot because you just bobbing your head, right?
Mm.
And so I think it just really comes down: do we have A&R talent anymore? That's the real question.
Mm.
Do we have talented people choosing?
Yeah.
And are the ones
Yeah.
who do know, do they get the opportunity? Or are they the ones being heard?
Mm. You said a lot right there. Speaking of like identifying talent, not only have you identified musical talent, but executive talent, like you said, you're seeing a lot of people who have worked for you in the past being promoted right now to
Mm-hmm.
VP levels. What do you look for in executive talent? And, you know, have you been able to train so many people that are now the leaders of the industry?
You know, it's I think it's a couple things, right? Is anyone who's a boss, you can't approach being the boss as the boss, right? Like, you have to be willing to give. You can't worry about if someone's going to surpass you. Yo, they're going to outperform you. Are they, you know, are they more talented than you? You give. When it's a team sport, everybody has to participate and everybody owns the win, right? Like, I mean, we watch the Super Bowl. You don't go, one guy won the Super Bowl, right? But
Right.
in the music business, one guy's the one who signed the artist. Like, yo, one guy's the one who made it number one, right? As opposed
Right.
to,
Right.
everybody takes their segment from that. And what I've done from day one is I never allowed it to be about anybody else other than the product. We were
Mm.
all beneficial from the success of the artist. So people took on a mindset of we and us, and the knowledge that I had or anyone else on the team, we just were able to let it flow. So it
Yeah.
wasn't you worried about he knows more, she knows more than I, you're inhibited. Nah, man, we free flowing. because we want you to be where you are right now.
Yeah.
Ultimately, like, guess what? We all grow up and want to move. Who still want to stay with their parents?
Right. That's right.
Yo, who do that, right? And that's
Right.
probably the most loving, nurturing, assuming that's the most loving, nurturing, perspective that you'll see, right? In those good situations. But you still want to be with your parents, right? But they fueled
Right.
you and they fed you and they gave you the best of them to make the best of you. So with executives, people that we were going to pour, or I was going to pour all that into, had to be someone that was special, right? Someone who really wanted the best for them and the best for us. Not just the job because it's the music industry. Now you had a purpose. And that's how the people who are now, growing and rising, they supposed to. They're supposed to.
They are, man. They are, and it's a beautiful thing to see because a lot of these folks, they came in when I came in. When I was a DJ, they were doing mix show, and then when I was a APD, they were a regional, and then as I'm rising, I'm seeing them rise, and these are people that like I've grown in the industry with for 10, 15 plus years, man. So it's definitely a great thing to watch and be a part of. So what's next for you?
Man, October 1st, the app goes live. Super excited
Okay.
about that. It's Candid,
Yeah.
right? Candid.
Yeah.
Candiid. I wouldn't be a promoter if I didn't say that one more time. Candiid, right?
Yeah.
As I said, finishing probably the last iteration. Now, you know what I ever realized, man, with like real artists, like why it took so long to get albums, right? Or get the song done, right? We've been in the process. But like doing this book, I'm on the 17th iteration of it, right? And every time you step away and you read it again, you want to do something else to it, right? And then you just have to make it a wrap and put it out. So I'm excited about that. That's coming March 1st. And I'm still here collecting rents. I still have the real estate, which is important now. And God bless, like I only had like 2 deadbeat tenants during the whole pandemic. But for the most part, it's a great thing.
Nah, that's what's up right there, man. So I'm gonna wrap it up on this question. And again, I really appreciate your time. I've learned a lot. I'm sure a lot of people in this live have learned a lot. What is something that you've learned during this time of 2020? Because obviously, it's been a crazy year, but it's also been a time of self-reflection. I know I've learned a lot because I haven't been able to move around like I normally do, and a lot of people feel the same way. So, what's something that you've taken away from this year so far?
That is what's been really important for me during the pandemic is realizing how simple life is, right? Like you don't want for anything. Only deal with what the needs are, man. Like I've looked at my life from what it was, and like I said to you, I've mastered my past, but I'm living my future. I don't have to be, and we don't have to be what we were. The pandemic has made it was an equalizer, man. Nobody could go nowhere. No one could do nothing, right? Everyone was inside. It didn't matter how much money you had, who you were, what you did. Everybody was equal, right?
Yeah.
So with that, the lesson became is like, you know what? Take this time and now come out of this being the best that you can be for me, right? And I would say that for everyone, look at what has happened and realize like, the pandemic has only given you an opportunity now to reset and be better at you, right? Run your race. Don't look to the left. Don't look to the right. Look straight to the finish line.
That's real. That's real, man. Well, listen, as always, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your knowledge and your wisdom. Much success on all your endeavors. And we got to chop it up about your artists. So, we can put some plays together on that,
Yes, sir.
man. And I can help you out on the Pandora side.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Love,
Talk
Jay.
to you soon. Yes,
All right,
be
man.
safe. Later.